When someone is reeling from trauma, good intentions just aren't enough. So, how can we in pastoral care become a truly skillful healing force? That's what we're going to explore today. A way of providing compassionate support that actually makes a difference. This single image, man, it gets right to the heart of it all, doesn't it? A storm damaged garden. Yeah, it's a picture of devastation for sure, but it's also a picture of profound hope. It reminds us that healing isn't about some quick fix. It's going to require patience and gentleness and a deep understanding of the very fragile ground we're standing on. So this isn't just some abstract idea. It's a deeply personal question for anyone in a position of care. How do we become those gardeners of healing? Let's keep that question in mind as we walk through the rest of this explainer. Okay, so our first step is to really get a grip on the why behind this whole approach. What's the vision? What is at the very heart of trauma-informed care? Look, this isn't about just mastering a new set of techniques or following a checklist. The motivation here is fundamentally theological. It's about making the church a true refuge, a place that actually embodies compassion and becomes a credible witness to God's restorative love in a broken world. All right, with the why established, we've got to turn to the what. Because to provide real care, we first have to understand the reality of the wound itself. First off, let's get on the same page with a clear definition. Trauma isn't just a bad day or a bad experience. It's an overwhelming one. That word right there is key. It's the point where a person's natural ability to cope is just completely swamped, and that's what leaves such a lasting, deep impact. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. Trauma is not just a mental health issue. It's holistic. As the pioneering researcher Bessel van der Kolk famously put it, the body keeps the score. And what that means is that trauma gets lodged in our physical bodies, in our minds, and in our spirits. So any path to healing has to address the whole person. So we understand the vision, we understand the nature of the wound, but how do we actually do this? What does it look like on the ground? Let's get into the practical tools we need for this kind of work. Really, this whole approach is built on three foundational skills. First, it starts with listening, and I mean really listening, not to fix, but to understand the pain behind the words. From there, it's about creating safety, a space that is completely free from judgment, where vulnerability is actually possible. And finally, it's about applying powerful spiritual resources like scripture with incredible care and sensitivity, offering comfort without ever minimizing the reality of their pain. Okay, here's a super powerful tool for any caregiver. It's called the window of tolerance. Just think of it as the optimal zone for our emotions. Inside this window, we can think clearly, we can handle stress, but trauma shrinks this window, and it can easily push someone outside of it, either up into hyperarousal, which looks like anxiety or rage, or down into hypoarousal, which looks like numbness or just completely shutting down. Our job as a caregiver is to gently, carefully help them find their way back inside that window. This chart just lays it out in black and white, doesn't it? The critical difference between helping and actually causing more harm. The number one goal is to avoid re-traumatization. Every single best practice on the left, confidentiality, patient listening, respecting boundaries, all of it is designed to build a foundation of safety and trust. And every single thing to avoid on the right just tears it down. So, with these skills in hand, what is the ultimate goal? What are we aiming for? Well, it's not just about coping or managing pain. The aim is true, deep restoration. This kind of restoration has several key parts. Of course, it involves spiritual resources and the absolutely vital support of a community. It means accepting that healing is a long process, not a quick event. But I want to pause on that last point, self-care for caregivers. This is not a luxury, it is essential. You can't pour from an empty cup. Burnout is real, and it prevents sustainable ministry. So caregivers have to care for themselves to be able to care for others. And there's a perfect Hebrew word that captures this incredible goal, shalom. We often translate it as peace, but it is so much more than that. It means completeness, wholeness, flourishing in every single part of life. That is the vision we're aiming for, God's shalom for every storm-damaged life. And so we end right back where we began, with our central metaphor of the garden. We've explored the vision, the reality of the wound, and the practical tools for care. So now the question comes back to you. Armed with this understanding, how will you help cultivate a garden of healing in the lives and communities all around you?